What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Godly Potential YouTube channel. Back with another video. In this video, I'll be answering an email that I received a few days ago. Now, this email, it contains quite a few different questions. I'll be sure I touch on each one. It's probably going to be a longer video, so just be advised. Currently, I'm at the park. I was outside. I was going to record it outside, but it's like a highway right next to where I'm at. There's a lot of fucking noise, so we're just going to do it here in the vehicle. Hopefully, the AC isn't noticeable or too annoying. So let's jump right into the email. So this email was initially based off of my chakra video that I did. It's a video going over how to tell or how to know if your chakras are open utilizing the pendulum. Okay, so the lady goes to ask, I want to know if there's a feeling associated with open chakras in addition to the pendulum method. Okay, so when it comes to chakras, what I've noticed first I'm going to talk about when the chakras are blocked. Okay, essentially, when the chakras are blocked, what it feels like whenever you do chakra meditations or you are focusing on a chakra, you will feel tension there and it will feel like a blockage. And I mean, essentially, that's how you can tell if it's blocked or not. You will feel tension, discomfort. It would be analogous to, let's say, you have a long garden hose. There's like 7 different sections in there, right? And when the chakras are open, let's say the valves tilt sideways and energy can flow perfectly. Well, when the chakras are blocked or underactive, well, that valve is not closed all the way, but it's not all the way open either. So when the water's going through, there's slightly there's resistance there, and you can usually tell that when you're working on the chakras because, like I said, the sensation will feel like a blockage. Okay. So when it comes to chakras being open, it's the opposite, right? Just like that garden hose I just described, that analogy. It's like all chakras, not like this block, but they're all flat, and the water just flowing through the hose freely, and it's just like a feeling of openness, right? Me personally, the chakra that I feel the most whenever I focus on it, like when I activate it or whatnot, is the crown chakra. It used to be, or I'm gonna use the third eye as well, but for the crown chakra, for me, there's whenever I focus on the crown chakra, or if I receive a download or something, energetically, I will feel tingling on top of my crown, and well, it feels like almost like a valve open, almost, right? It's like a bowl sitting on top of my head. It's like a crater or an indent just appears and the energy flows through it. And that's how it feels for my crown chakra. Now for the third eye, this is the chakra that I really notice when there's blockages. Because when I would focus on it, when I first got into meditating and the spiritual practices, my main goal was to open the third eye, right? As a lot of people do, they just want to focus on the third eye. And so when I would do that, what I would feel is discomfort in the third eye. It would literally just feel like a blockage there, right? No energy was flowing through it, or very little. But now, as I do it, you can literally feel the energy flowing through it. And it happens every so often as well. If I go longer than usual without meditating, that chakra might become underactive, and once I'm working on it, I can feel it pretty much becoming more open as the sessions progress, right? The longer I'm meditating, right? I can feel the energy flowing through it more. And now when it comes to feeling the energy, I believe that just has something to do with your sensitivity to energy. A lot of people, or some people, are more sensitive to energy than others, so they'll be able to pick up on it a lot quicker. But essentially, that's how I tell, or that's the feeling associated with open chakras. It just feels like an openness. And then the closed chakra is the opposite. Okay. So that's the first question. Second question is, she asks, Kundalini activation is related to, right? Question mark. Kundalini activation, you can say it's related to chakras being open or closed, but just because your chakras are open doesn't necessarily mean you have your activated Kundalini, right? Okay. The sun is hitting different. Hopefully it doesn't mess up the video quality too much. So, for those of you who don't know, what is Kundalini? Kundalini is the energy resting at the base of your spine. And once this energy is activated, essentially the energy travels up the spine and like a serpent, right? He's got like the caduceus. I forgot what's the name of the, I think, Greek character who carries it. But also, if you look in the medical field on any like, what's it called, ambulances, right? They have the staff and it's like a serpent traveling up it. Well, that pretty much symbolizes the spine is the staff and the snake is the Kundalini energy traveling up, right? And essentially, when this Kundalini energy is activated, it travels up the spine and it hits each chakra point. Now, if there's blockages within the chakra points, the energy will get stuck there. You will feel a lot of discomfort, right? Let's say it's in your root, and then around that area, you will feel like tension, right? Same thing. It moves up to the solar plexus, or not solar plexus, the sacral chakra. You will feel tension there. You will feel it can be painful, right? And that goes for each chakra. And so when this energy is activated, it flows up the spine, and from what I understand, it gets to the third eye, and then once it gets there, it essentially activates this melanin, this dark matter, melanin type of liquid that rests in, I believe, the third ventricle of the brain, and it secretes over the third eye, and it activates some of your dormant DNA, right? And then it goes, I believe it goes out the crown, and it opens up, or the third eye expands, or not the third eye, the pineal gland, it expands, right? Similar to the depiction they have is once the serpent gets up there, the cobra, it has its I don't know what the fuck it's called. You know, the cobra, it has a wider head than other snakes. That's essentially, it symbolizes enlightenment, right? So that's what Kundalini is. So it's associated with that. Like I said, not necessarily, but it does. If your Kundalini is activated and it has awakened, pretty much, you can assume that your chakras, and it traveled all the way up the spine, you can assume all your chakras are open and are functioning properly. But just because your chakras are open doesn't mean that your Kundalini is. And now, I also believe that everybody's chakras are open. You just have extremely underactive chakras and extremely overactive chakras. Okay? So, that's that. Okay. Okay. Then she goes on to ask a question. It says, I want to drastically change my current reality, and I need a bit of guidance. Okay. So, I believe the best way to drastically change your current reality is to essentially sit down and think about how you want your reality to be, right? Create your ideal reality. So sit there, visualize that ideal reality, every detail of it. Where are you located at, right? Are you in the same state or country that you are now? If you're not, pretty much put your focus on the country you want to be in, or the state you want to be in. And then the environment, okay? Are you in a home? Are you in an apartment? Are you in a house? Are you in, in nature? Whatever it is, right? Visualize that. You want to get down to the as much detail as possible. What are you wearing? Or what type of clothes are you on? What type of house are you in? What type of feelings do you feel during that situation, during that moment? Who are you surrounded by? What type of people? What type of energy? What's the weather like where you at? essentially creating the ideal reality, and essentially you're creating your ideal, your dream life as well. And so you want to visualize that in much detail as possible. All right, who you with, who in your relationship with, okay? Like every detail you can think of. You want to sit there and visualize that. Now, what I like to do is once you visualize that, write it down in the present tense. So let's say I'm just making up some random stuff, right? I am currently living in Texas, in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, whatever square feet, right? I live with my ideal partner, right? The love of my life, with our, 2 children. We live in a beautiful home. The weather is always nice. Each morning I wake up to my ideal partner laying next to me, and you just want to go into detail. Go into detail about your day, right? Essentially everything you have. So once you've written that down, visualize it again in more detail. Really feel the emotions. And essentially what this doing is it's putting you on that frequency so you can attract that, right? But that's just the first phase. The second phase, when you get really into using spirituality or magic, you can say, manifestation, is when you've written it down, what you want to do is make a seal or a sigil out of that. Now, what is a sigil? A sigil is essentially a symbol that represents something that you are trying to manifest. Okay? And so when you have written that entire thing down, what you want to go do then is go through each word and mark out each letter that has already been used. For example, let's say you write, I have a, $100,000, right? You see the I, you see the H, you see the A, you see the V, you see the E, right? You have a again because I have a $100,000. So you write out there that A. All right, this isn't making sense. I can already tell. So 1 second. What I'm gonna do is, instead of just trying to say it off the top of my head, I'm gonna write it. So I have I'm just put thousand. $. Right. So let's see if you can see that. So you see that I have $1,000, right? So imagine if this was that dream or ideal life that you had. So what you want to do is you want to look at it. So yep, you see the I, you're good. The H, you're good. A, you're good. V, you're good. Your E, you're good. You see this A. Okay, there's already an A used right here, so you want to X or mark this A out, right? Mark it out like such. Then you go to the T. It's good. The H. Okay, you've already used it in the word have, and I'm just go through and I'm gonna do all this. So the O is good. The U is good. The S is good. Oh, the A. Mark it out. The N is good. The D. No homo. The D is good. The D again. Mark it out because you already used it. All right. The O. Mark it out. The L is good. The second L. Mark it out. The A. Mark it out. The R. And the S. Mark it out. So essentially, you're left with just a few letters. And now you're going to write these letters pretty much beneath it, the ones you have left. So it'll be I, H, A, V, Right. So you're left with those letters. Now, out of those letters, you want to pretty much get into a meditative state and choose from these letters just whatever you're guided to choose. Choose from these letters, and from these letters that you've chosen, create a symbol out of it. So I'm gonna just make some up. I'm gonna take the O, I'm gonna draw it, right? Then I'm gonna put an S in the middle of it. All right, then an N going through it. I'm gonna show you, and a D. This is not gonna be a great depiction. Draw an L in there, an I somewhere. Right. This is just random. Like it's gonna look more defined, and it's not gonna make sense to somebody who is just looking at it. But essentially, you're gonna choose from there. You're gonna create a symbol, and then you're gonna rewrite it on a blank sheet of computer paper and refine it. Right. And essentially, you're gonna be left with a symbol or a sigil. That's not gonna mean. It's not gonna make sense to someone who stumbled across it. Yeah, it's not gonna make sense. But you're gonna have a symbol, and because you sat there and written it out, writing something gives it a more, I don't know, it gets embedded into the subconscious better than just typing it out. So you're writing it, your subconscious is already, like, it's getting embedded into your subconscious. And then, every time you look at that symbol, or that sigil, your subconscious mind know what it means. So you don't have to sit there and write out that entire ideal life or goal every single time. And so, once you have this sigil, essentially you want to look at it 3 times a day: morning, midday, night. Because what it's doing is it's putting you on that frequency of that gold every time you look at it. So throughout your day, you wake up, boom, first thing you look at, okay, cool. Now you're on that frequency, like how to attract this ideal life. Okay, cool. You go out today, it's starting to fade away. You're getting focused on work and whatever responsibilities you have, and then midday you look at it again, boom, you're back focused on it. Okay, cool. You go through the rest of your day. Okay, cool. It, like I said, it fades away. You're working on stuff. You're cooking dinner, doing all this, blah blah blah. And you look at it again before you go to sleep, right? And right when you're waking and right when you're falling asleep, that's when the subconscious mind is most impressionable. So when you're looking at it again, boom, it gets embedded in there. Okay, then you fall asleep. Then while you're dreaming, your subconscious mind is working out things, and then you're coming up with ideas on how to manifest this stuff, and then boom, who knows, you wake up to an idea, right? You want to create a product or something, and you create that product because your subconscious mind has sought out into the universe and came up with the avenue that works best for you in your current situations on how to manifest that. And then you go out to that, and you keep doing this until pretty much it manifests. You want to look at this until it manifests, all right? Now, before you do that, you have to activate the sigil. You activate it simply by gazing at it, okay? And by gazing, it essentially means to stare with a relaxed gaze, as if you're daydreaming. You know how when you're daydreaming, you're just in the space, you're not focused on anything in particular, right? That's essentially how you want to look at it. You just want to gaze at it until you see some movement in it. And what's going to happen is some people will see a flash, right? But the sigil will essentially, you'll see it moving when you do it right. Okay, so that's how we'll go about changing your reality. Sit down, write out your dream life in the present tense. I have this, 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 right? Create a sigil out of it. Go through each letter that's repeated. Mark it out, mark it out, mark it out, mark it out. There's only, like 26, 27 letters in the alphabet. So if you do it right at the end, even if it's longer shit, you only be stuck with like 20 some odd letters. All right, and then from those 20 some odd letters, create a symbol out of there, and that symbol will pretty much be your sigil. And then from there, you want to activate it by gazing at it. Then essentially you want to look at it 3 times a day, because that 3 times a day will put you on the track of the frequency of attracting that reality or goal. You can also do it with goals as well. So like this goal that I written out, I have $1,000, right? Doing that, that's what you're doing, you're attracting it. So it doesn't always have to be just a life or ideal reality. It can also be for goals. Okay. She says, I also watched a video on Let the Sleeping Sleep. This was hard for me to do. Yeah, essentially I made a video talking about how when you wake up, when you become conscious or aware or enlightened, whichever one it is for you, what you want to do is you want to wake the other people up around you, right? It's like if you've seen the movie The Matrix, right? When Neo woke up from that vat or whatever the fuck it was he was in that incubator, pretty much, he looked around, seen everybody around him sleeping, right? I'm pretty sure at first he wanted to realize what was going on, but after that he wanted to wake others up, okay? But the thing is, in that video I mentioned how when you wake people up, let's think about it in this 3D reality, right? What happens when somebody wakes you up, right? Let's say it's your off day and somebody wakes you up for some bullshit or some shit that they care about but you don't. You're going to get upset. You're like, fuck, you don't wake me up, right? Or if you're not upset, you wake up and let's say you was in your REM sleep, right? Rapid eye movement sleep, right? And now you're just discombobulated, right? And it's like just like you out of it, right? You're woken up to like some fucking loud ass panic, like you iPhone users, those obnoxious like alarms to go off. Like I'm pretty sure every time they wake you up, you're in like a slight anxiety state. But that's essentially how it is when you try to wake up others. Like it's not time for them to wake up, so don't try it. So yeah, she said it was hard for her, but I mean, essentially it goes back to what I said in the video. Like it's not their time to, right? And especially like when it comes with loved ones and friends and family, it's like your task is to evolve spiritually and figure out what your purpose is and strive towards that each and every day. Your task isn't to forcefully wake someone up, because just like how you woke up, I can almost bet you it wasn't from somebody grabbing and shaking you saying wake up. No, it was time, right? It was simply time for you to wake up. And so that's what happened. And essentially it will be the same for them, because I believe that not each person comes down here to wake up each lifetime. Some people come down here to experience it, right? Especially if they're like a young soul. They just want to experience life. And so that's what they're going to do. Okay. The next question is she talks about her relationships for a moment, and she pretty much states how she attracts people due to her childhood traumas, right? The same person essentially over and over, just with a different face. Yeah, traumas, they're a motherfucker. I mean, childhood traumas, like, we all got them, we all deal with them, and they are what, or our subconscious beliefs, they are what pretty much plays a huge role on our reality, because those unconscious beliefs or those deep-seated beliefs within our subconscious mind is what creates our reality, right? Because the subconscious mind, when you look out into your reality is that way based on your subconscious beliefs, right? So it's the same thing in relationships. But I would like to offer you a reference, if you will, a book that I've just started reading recently, and he talks about essentially subconscious beliefs or deep-seated beliefs. This book, this is what it looks like. It's entitled "There's a Hole in My Love Cup," right? Title sounds kind of weird, but once you read it, it'll make sense how he explains it. And I don't know if you can read the subheader, but it says "The Badass Counseling Method for Healing the Soul and Unleashing Greatness" by Sven, Sven Erlandsson, Erlandson, right? Here, that's what it looks like. I recommend go checking it out. Go get his book. He got a website, he got programs as well. I have yet to check those out, but the book is great so far. If you got social media, you can check him out on there. He got a YouTube channel. Just type in Badass Counseling, as well as like a TikTok, so you can find him on there too. And just check out some of his stuff. Like, he talks about a lot of good stuff, and I believe that will be very helpful when it comes to beginning to process your childhood traumas and deep-seated beliefs, right? The things that was imprinted in the wet cement of your soul and hardened. That's how he explains it. Okay, so check that out. There's a Hole in My Love Cup by Sven Elderson, or I think I said his last name right. Okay. She also goes on to say she needs to know how to protect her energy. The first thing I like to tell people is meditate, right? Get on a higher frequency, rising your vibration, because what that's going to do is it's going to attract people on that same frequency, and those who aren't on that frequency, they're not really going to be attracted to it. Now, that doesn't go to say that people with bright lights don't attract like leeches and flies and gnats and shit. No, they do, but a lot of times when you're vibrating at such a high rate, the people around you who are vibrating low will just get turned off by you. They will not want to be around you, right? They will not. It's almost like when you burn sage. Like, negative people, they don't like the smell of sage because the sage is working, right? It's like low vibrating entities. They can't stand the smell of sage or that smoke because it's like almost toxic gas. If you've ever experienced like inhaling toxic fumes, it's like it's not good. You want to get out of there as soon as possible. Like in the military basic training, I believe every branch you have to go to a gas chamber, right? You gotta sit in there, do some jumping jacks and shit, pull your face mask off, and sit in there and count for like, I forget the now numbers, but you inhale all that toxic gas, and the only thing you want to do is get the fuck out of there, right? And the same thing goes with these lower vibrating entities and people, right? So when you vibrate at such a high rate, essentially what's going to happen, they're going to avoid you like the plague. So that's one thing. The second thing is you want to get you some crystals, some black crystals, right? I have this bracelet. This is black tourmaline, I believe. You also have, what is it? Shit. I know you have, I believe black onyx does the same thing. Don't quote me on that. Do research on black onyx. And tourmaline, onyx, and there's one more. I can't think of it right now. Get you some of those. I also have this necklace. It's covered in obsidian. That's what it is. Obsidian. It's covered in obsidian. This here though is a cosmic beacon. So this actually connects me to my divine parents. I mean, just invest in some crystals that do that. Stay on top of your meditation. Cleanse. I would say at least 2 times a day. That with sage, Palo Santo, Florida water, some type of cleansing spray, things of that nature. And just do high vibrating activities like working out, right? Try to eat lighter foods. Honestly, just live a healthier lifestyle. I mean, that's essentially it. And essentially, she also goes into, I just want to be more or financial security. Just program that into your ideal day or ideal reality. So like I make this amount a month or a year, whatever, and that should help with that. And so the last question is, lastly, she said she need to learn discipline. So my take on this is, when it comes to discipline, what you need in order to remain disciplined is a higher goal or higher vision, something that's bigger than yourself, that's going to keep pulling you towards that goal or that vision, right? So within that sigil that you're developing, write out that ideal goal you have, right? And put let's just take fitness for example, right? Let's say in there, put, I am the healthiest I've ever been, right? I love the way my body looks and feels, right? And essentially it's connected to that entire lifestyle that you want. And so the entire lifestyle is bigger than your measly little emotions at the time, because that's all it is. It'd be stopping you, it's emotions. And so you want to connect it to something that's higher than yourself. And so once that's done, essentially you want to do this activity for at least 21 days each day, because what you're doing is you're creating neural nets within the brain. And a neural net is spelled ENEURALNET. Neural net. It's pretty much, if I understand correctly, it's a it's a neural network within the brain, right? It's pretty much a link on how it pretty much is how habits are developed. Okay, so think of our neural net is, let's say you are driving from point A to point B, right? You're starting at point A, and between point A and point B is a lot of grass, a lot of tall brush, a lot of shit in the way, right? So you're at point A and you're driving this vehicle to point B. On your way to point B from point A, it's rough, right? It's bumpy, it's rocky, it's mud there, it's all kind of shit. And you've never driven down that path before, so it's rocky, right? But you make it to point B, right? Let's say that's your first day of following that plan to that disciplined path, right? It's the first time. First time is rough. It takes a lot of effort because you've never ridden down there before. Okay, the second time it's a little bit more smoother because you've done it the day before, but it's still not a road there. It's still not carved there. But let's say you do this for 21 days straight. You drive down this road, right, from A to B, from B to A, from A to B, from B to A. Essentially, in 21 days, what's happening is you're creating a path. And now it's a lot easier for you to go down that path. And essentially what's happening with these neural nets, and essentially what's happening with these goals, you're doing it for 21 days, so it becomes a habit. When this habit is formed, the neural net is established, is created, and essentially it's a lot easier to follow with that plan you had, right? Because you've done it for so long. Now it's embedded in the subconscious, it's embedded into the brain. A neural network has been created for it, and now it's easier. It's just like brushing your teeth. When you first learned how to brush your teeth, you probably didn't want to thrilled about it, so your parents had to stay on you until you do it. But you do it for 3 weeks, a month, or whatever. Now it's just something natural, and now you don't have to feel like it. You still do it, right? And essentially, same thing goes on with goals and habits. So since you want to do something for 21 days, because what you're doing is you're developing that neural net, and that neural net is essentially developing the habit. And once it's a habit, then you no longer need discipline. It's just something you do, right? You ask a runner, why are they always running? Like, well, because I'm a runner. This is what I do. You have somebody who loves working out, going to the gym. This is what I do. I lift weights, right? So I've been working out for 10 years, really lifting weights for 10 years now. And people say, man, I ain't got the discipline. I don't got blah, 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 right? How do you do it? And honestly, bro, I've been doing this shit for so long. When I don't do it, it's when I feel bad, right? I feel shitty. It's because I've been doing it for so long. And now it's a habit. And now when I don't do it, something's off. Okay? So that's essentially how you become more disciplined. You force yourself to do it for 21 days. And what's going on in 21 days, you're forming a habit. That neural network is being created. And now it's going to be a lot easier. It's going to be a path of least resistance for you to take, right? Water is going to flow down that path effortlessly. It's going to take less energy for you to do it. And you associate that with any habit that you want to do. Let's say it's meditate, and you force yourself to meditate for 21 days straight. And I believe an easier way to do that as well is to write out, plan 21 days. Each day you say, at this time, from this time, I will sit here and I will do this meditation for 15 to 20 minutes, however long you want to do it, right? Look up guided meditations or whatever, and you follow that for 21 days. And after the 21st day, after the 21st day, then it will become a habit. And it just be something you do, because you'll notice, like, damn, I feel better when I do this. Okay. And yeah, that's essentially how you do it. And I believe that covered it all. Hopefully this is helpful. If you have any more questions, just leave in the comments or email me again. I can clarify something or whatever. But yeah, I hope that it helps. But I'm gonna get out of here. It's sun setting. Yeah. For any of you who have any questions, you can email me also at mygodlypotential@gmail.com. You can hit me up on IG or whatever, or in the comment section on this video. But until next time, I'm out. Peace.